And hello everybody and welcome to the Purple Sector Championship hosted by Gridfinder and brought to you by me and Ben from Formula Zero Racing. How are we, Ben?
I'm good, thank you. I need to check the audio levels just before we get started. The title is going to change. Don't worry about that. Let's have a look. Just carry on, Alex. I'll check the audio.
As we are here at Silverstone today for the first edition of the Purple Sector Championship. Silverstone, the home of Formula One and iconic circuits all round. Iconic corners like Copse, Luffield and Maggots Beckett Stowe, the Vale Chicane, the Hamilton Straight, Village, the Loop, Abbey Farm, absolutely everywhere. This is a circuit full of history and everything. Pure passion and the home of motorsport here in Great Britain. We have 9 drivers. We've got Vinny D's, Isaiah Jarvis, Nate, Josh Woolley, Bri, Charlie Spence, Shadow, Larry and Venkus. And it should be a nice little first editions round to kick us off for the Purple Sector Championship. And it's good to see Gridfinder back for F1 25 and for another F1 Championship, and we're going to make it as best as we can get it. But it should be exciting to see all cars out on track. But so far, all 9 currently are out on track, Ben.
Yeah, I'm just riding on board with Larry at the moment. He's about to start his lap. It should be good. It's always good to see new leagues starting up, and Charlie calls up from Good Finals like, let's get one going, Purple Sector Championship, and we're here. We've got only 9 drivers, but it's a start. We all start somewhere, and it's good to see these drivers turning up. And Mr. Bagnall, Larry is on a lap. Would you like to take us through?
Absolutely, as he heads into the loop and gets on that power once again, uses the back on the exit around Aintree with the DRS wide open, down the Wellington Straight and on the route down to Brooklands, the stand on the right, but swooping to the left as we head into Luffield at turn number 7. Slight dab of the brakes, down a few gears to third, slowly climbing onto that power, enable the battery, past Woodcote, down to Copse Corner on the National Pitch Straight, under the MSC sign, and throw the car in flat out through Copse Corner at turn number 9 as we head into the iconic turn 10, Maggots, into turn number 12, then into Beckett's, and on the exit, foot flat to the floor as we head into Chapel with that DRS wide open on the exit. He's used up quite a lot of the battery and it's actually depleted, so he must have enabled that a bit too much throughout the lap. But as we head into Stowe, Larry's going to struggle in this final sector with that battery and goes very deep, and that is an invalidation for the kicks.
Yeah, not ideal for Larry. It got so far through the lap and just invalidates at the end. I think Nate is going to be the next one, or first one to set a lap time, but he has also invalidated. Who is that Alpine going slow? He's not going to be completing a lap. Venkus is coming through Stowe now. Let's see what he can do. Going up to the final chicane.
Here we go then, into the Vale Chicane, heavy on the brakes at turn number 16. Let the car roll through and get on power once you hit past turn number 17. To the line we go. Venkus does a 29.646 to kick us off here in round number 1.
Right, let's have a look then. Charlie Spence, one of the organisers of Purple Sector and one of the admins for Gridfinder. Let's have a look what Charlie Spence can do. We saw his hot lap being posted on social media as a little teaser for this event. So he comes around the final chicane now. What can he do? Can he set the benchmark? Is it going to be provisional pole position? I'm not sure. Up to the line, what is it going to be for Charlie Spence? It's P2 with a 27.0.
That was very closely matched to his hot lap time, to be honest. Not far off indeed. Larry's on another lap, Shadow's on, and so is Nate as well. As I think Vinny D's goes into P5's over 29.7. But yes, Charlie goes into P number 2. And Ben, who are you riding on board with?
I'm just having a look at Shadow here as he navigates Maggots and now comes through Beckett's here and onto the Hamilton Straight. He's going to get that DRS wide open using a bit of that battery that he has remaining. But it's quite low, to be fair, using quite a lot of it. But yeah, he heads up to Stowe now. How many downshifts? He opts for the 2, down to 3, down to 5th gear, 3 downshifts down, and then into the final chicane. Now Shadow in the Williams. What can he do?
Here we go then, past the final corner at Club Corner, turn number 18, and navigates to the line. Turns behind Charles Spence, and a 27.243 for the Williams for the first lap. Not bad at all. Still, drivers out there setting these lap times, and I think Larry is still the only man out there not set a lap time, as I think Nate is on another lap as well in the Ferrari. And yeah, using the battery on the route down to turn number 6 at Brooklands, and he's actually 5 seconds up, so he's definitely got a lot of time in that 35.9, so must have made a mistake in that first sector on his latest lap as he rolls the car around turn number 7 at Luffield and past Woodcuts on the route down to Copse Corner. Let's see what Nate can do. What's the pace like in this Ferrari for the Scuderia? Let's have a look as we go on the route down to the iconic Maggots Corner into Maggots, and still flat out, then a little lift and down a few gears as we head into Chapel Corner. DRS wide open on the route down the Hanger Straight and into Stowe at turn number 15. What's it going to be for Nate as he navigates it well? It goes down that 3 gears just like Shadow. But as we head into the Vale chicane for the Ferrari of Nate, let's have a look as he gets that power down on the exit, stays well away from that very high curb, and to the left to go. He goes at the same time as Josh Woolley with a 26.608, and on my screen it's Pete. Josh Woolley's in P1, but Nate's got the purple time. So I think there's a bit of a bug there because they've got the exact same time, but it's Josh Woolley who set it first, so he's still on provisional pole.
Absolutely, that is how it works in real life, and that is how it works in the game, even though Nate has the purple coloured line on the timing board, as you say. Bry is coming through Stowe now. He's going to go into bits, not quite. He's going to continue on and finish this lap time. Currently on a 1:30.6. Looking to improve on that, having a huge moment out of the chicane.
There's to the line we go. He does improve by 7 tenths, but not improving in position with a 29.959. But for the Purple Sector Championship, we've got an issue with the purple graphic on who's on pole, because they're on the exact same time. Who would have thought it? They're sharing the purple sectors, and it's Nate and Josh Woolley neck and neck. But Josh is on his outlap and will be going in a few moments' time, as I'm guessing right on board with Venkus, as I think he's the only one out there on a lap at the moment. Let's have a look as we head into Maggots and Beckett's, as I think he's charging that battery up, so maybe not on a lap.
Well, he's just going to ride on board with Larry as he starts his lap now, navigates through turn 1 and tries to hold the curb on the inside to follow it around nice and close, that sausage curb on the inside. Flick left and on the power as soon as you dare. Waiting now, just waiting till we can get that DRS open, which he does now. Using the battery down to 57% for Ballin. You don't need to stay in the middle of the track this time like you did in F124. You can use it all the way to the right hand side, over that curve as much as you can, and then stays in 4th gear. Opts to go down into 3rd. I think I stayed into 4th last game, but I've had him play this game, so I don't have a clue. But yeah, up to Copse now, Mr. Bagnall. Looks like an okay lap for Larry so far.
Yeah, not too bad in that first sector, but as we head into the crucial middle part of this lap, into Maggots and Beckett, we go around this 5.8 kilometre circuit full of history and iconic moments. Can Larry navigate the full 5.8 kilometres and set it close to Josh Woolley and Nate's lap time? He's used all that battery yet again before the final sector, but Larry heads into Stowe Corner at turn number 15 and onto the power once again into final Vale chicane. Heavy on the brakes, down to 3rd gear, now down to 2nd, climbing through on the exit of turn number 17. Larry is going to...
There we go, into P4. You might just keep putting out a little bit ahead. But yeah, Woolley Blobs is on another lap and he's all sorts of out of shape in the first sector. Let's have a look what he can do in the final part of the lap. Are you back, Alex?
Bear with, I'll try and fix it.
But yeah, through now. I think it's Luffield, this one. Stamps onto the throttle, stays in 4th gear. Nicely back onto the power there. Wooly Blobs currently on provisional pole at the exact same time as Nate. Charlie Spence has retired. I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know if he did that on purpose, but Wooly Blobs now coming to navigate Maggots and Beckett's. There we go, through Stone now, back on the power, using the battery, he hasn't got a lot of it, now into the chicane, braking it as late as he possibly can, flicking it left, then flicking it right, back on the power, very, very easy to lose the rears on that corner, up to the line, and does improve by just under 0.3 of a second. It's a 26.380. Larry's into the pit lane, and Shadow is on another lap. Mr. Bagnall, are you back with us?
I'll try to be, as I don't know if my mic's still cutting out, but we'll test the waters. But let's have a look. Who's on a lap at the moment then, Ben?
I'm looking at Shadow at the minute. He's also about to come into Maggots and Beckett's, flat out, of course, until this left-hander, and then you're off the front. A little dab of the brakes and straight slamming back onto the power. But yeah,
here we go then.
Here we go.
Let's have a look.
Are you back now?
I think so. I don't know. I've never had it cut out. But let's have a look. Shadow heads into the final few corners as we go round the Vale chicane and into Club Corner, around turn number 18, and to the line we go for the Williams, and goes into P5. Well, stays in P5 with only an 8,000th improvement, and sets the exact same lap time as Larry. What's going on?
I know, this is crazy.
Wow.
It's new championship, identical times. Venkus is now on a lap. This one is Luffield, isn't it? Who's coming through now? I believe so.
It is indeed. It is. No, it's Woodcut.
Woodcut.
Luffield's the one before. Round Woodcut, down the National Pit Straight, and down to Cobb's Corner.
There we go, lovely stuff. Navigates that quite nicely, actually. And coming into Maggots and Beckett's now. Venkus in that McLaren, of course. I don't believe they got to choose the teams in this championship. I think it was just got given to them. But yeah, plenty of spaces still to fill for the next round, which is coming next Friday for the Purple Sector Championship. We'll be streaming again live on YouTube with Grid Finder. Commentary coming from FZR. The F125, I believe, the place to be for F125. Isn't that right, Mr. Bagnall?
Absolutely, but here we go, Venkus around the final corner in the McLaren, clambers the curb on the probably because of that, and stays in P6. Wow, could have been a big error, that.
Yeah, could have been, definitely. Nate, I believe, is on a lap, is 3 seconds down actually, so foot off board from him. Vinny D's 07 is on a lap, coming around the loop now, is going to get a nice two from McLaren there, it looks like.
Absolutely on the route down to Brooklands and Luffield using the battery, and in that turbulent air of the McLaren, that's not going to help his rotation of that Red Bull around Brooklands and Luffield, but we'll get a nice tow on the route down to Cobb's Corner at turn number 9. He's improving slightly in that first sector. Is there any more time in the last two? Is he going to need any sort of time he can possibly get to elevate his grid position? Currently about 1.2 down on Isaiah Jarvis, and the McLaren still right up above, and I think that is Venkus as well right ahead, so he doesn't know that, but on the exit,
that's it, yeah.
There's contact between Venkus, and that's a huge, and that's a 5-place grid penalty for Venkus as well, so he'll start at the back of the pack. And on the exit of Chapel, tried to get out. I don't know. He was just very close on the exit. Should have got out of the way before probably Maggots and Beckett. Yeah. But yeah, made that very tricky for him there.
I think unfortunately that was deserved for Venkus there. Had lots of opportunity. I just don't think he knew he was there. So he will start probably from the back of the grid if he can't improve on his time.
Yeah, absolutely. Should have moved out of the way a lot sooner, but you live and you learn. Who starts probably at the back of the pack, as Bright was on a lap, but I think backed out, and will go again in the final stint. But everyone else in the pit lane, Josh, Nate, Charlie retired from the session, and then Larry on his outlap. So is Isaiah Jarvis, both in the kick Saubers, and Bri also not out there on a push lap.
Yep, let's run on board with Larry then for probably his final lap of the race if he doesn't abort. But here we go, Larry in the Sauber, Larry XYZ, he drives in Tier 2 I believe in Aston Martin, might be open to, but yeah, he starts the final lap of his session. Let's see what he can do.
Absolutely, that's the Williams of Shadow coming out of the pit lane on the inside line. But with Larry, let's head into Village and now into the loop at turn number 4 as we head on back onto the Wellington Straight once again. He drains this battery on the route down to Brooklands, and he's been running out of battery quite early in the lap. So is Larry going to do the same or conserve it for the latter stages? As he's definitely struggled and paid the price in that final sector a few times in qualifying so far, but currently in P4 and looking to elevate his P4 position above the likes of Charlie Spence and try and get into the 26s. But with the kick Sauber heading into Copse Corner and drops to 7th gear, flies back up to 8th on the route down to turn number 10 and throw it left, right, back into the fast left and slight dab of the brakes and into Chapel on the exit, gets the DRS wide open and yet again drains all that battery before we get into that final sector, and that is the battery gone. But as we head into Stowe Corner and 3 more corners to navigate for Larry, let's see if there's any more time in it. Wasn't improving the first sector, middle sector drained all that battery as we head around the final sector, probably for the final time for the kick Sauber. He crosses the line and does not improve, stays in P4.
That's a shame for Larry. Yeah, maximum P4 for him. Nate is about to start his final flying lap and he's going to be a serious contender for pole position. Earlier set the exact same lap time as Wooly Blobs. Wooly Blobs later improved to a 26.380, but can Nate improve in the Ferrari further from that time?
Let's see as we fly round the first sector for the final time in qualifying. What has Nate got in his locker to stick it on pole position for the first time in the Purple Sector Championship history? He could write his name as the first ever pole sitter. Who's it going to be? Josh Woolley or Nate in P2 as we head into Luffield for the final time in this session? He's going to get a lovely tow on the route down to Copse Corner, and hopefully this time around, I think it is Venka's Bri this time around, hopefully it doesn't get in the way of Nate. But as we head around Copse Corner and on the route down to Maggots Beckett's, Nate coming through. We've got Bri right ahead, but on the exit, not moving out of the way just yet, but on the exit of Chapel, I think Nate might just be able to fly through anyway when he gets the DRS wide open. He's still a tenth and a bit down, but with this lovely slipstream on the route down to Stowe Corner, hopefully doesn't get in the way, does the McLaren, but the Ferrari,
yeah, that's a shame,
is the dirty air for Nate's car, as Josh William behind it is improving by 0.2 of a second as we head into the final sector, Ben.
Yeah, Wooly Blobs now, can he extend his margin with Nate being impeded there? That is him done and out of qualifying. Maximum P2 for him. Charlie Spencer's retired as well, so it's looking good for Wooly Blobs. At worst, what can he get? At worst, probably P4 here. P3 now. Wooly Blobs, can he extend his margin? He can. 26.181. Anyone improving behind? Venkus goes into P3 with a 26.7, and Vinny D rounds us out, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Venkus has that 5-place grid penalty as well. That will drop him to P8. And yes, that'll mean Vinny D's will go up to P7 henceforth. But yeah, Charlie Spence will still start in P3 after retirement. Did not improve after that one. But there we go then. First qualifying for the Purple Sector Championship. And it's Josh Woolley on pole position to Nate in P2 by 0.4 of a second. Venkus in P3 will start 5 places further back. Charlie Spence in P4. Shadow takes P5. Larry in P6. Isaiah Jarvis in P7. Vinny D's in P8. And Bri we're in P9. And Vinny D's and Venkus, like I said, both having 5-place grid penalties. Vinny D's will start from the back, and Venkus will start from P8. But the first race is upon us for the Purple Sector Championship.
Yeah, reminder that all races and all incidents, will be looked at after the race. If you would like to report them and you are driving today, you can do. I'll just play the Grid Finder ad for you, just so you know what you can get into. If you'd like to have a look at Grid Finder, gridfinder.com. There we go. That is some of the stuff that Grid Finder can offer you. You can manage your championship on there, and Mr. Bagnall, it's great, isn't it? It is absolutely fantastic. It's a great tool to use to manage your F1 league, or iRacing league for that matter, and FZR absolutely love it. It's time for the formation lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good tool to use, and that is where you find the Purple Sector Championship. To sign up for these events, make sure you head over to the Grid Finder website, and you'll find the Purple Sector Championship on the main page. It should be as one of the featured racing communities to be in. And yes, definitely get involved here at the Purple Sector Championship on the formation lap of this long-awaited Purple Sector Championship. Let's have a look at the tyres, shall we, Ben? Bit of Ted's tyre talk.
Ted's tyre talk, let's have a look. So we've got front two on hards, and also Isaiah Jarvis in P6 on the hard. Everyone else has opted to go on the medium compound tyres. So let's see if this front two can work together and pull a gap from Charlie Spence, who will be hot in behind as the owner of this league.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh William, Nate on the hards, like you said, and Isaiah Jarvis also went for the punt on the hards. So yeah, going to be a risk if there's a safety car in the medium pit stop window. But yes, let's see what the strategies occur here, because obviously on the F1 game, on the F1 25 game, degradation at an all dirty air affects more than absolutely ever. Engine overheating is a huge problem when following in that DRS train and waiting to overtake. But let's see what happens. We've got Harry Train joining us as well. It's down in P10, and we'll start at the back of the pack in the Ferrari. But Josh Woolley will head this train down to Stowe for the final few corners before we get underway for the first time in the Purple Sector Championship.
Yeah, I'm excited. Round one is upon us. It's been long awaited, and I'm excited to see how the pace matches up. Qualifying is one thing, but race is another.
Absolutely spot on as we head. Oh, we've got Brian, Harry Train must have made a bit of contact, and that's disqualified them from the formation lap. But as we head around Club Corner, here we go then. Grid Finder is back on F1 25, and we have the championship beginning today here at Silverstone. Nate pointing that car all the way to the left, attacking Josh Woolley straight from the get-go is the Ferrari. And for the first time for the Purple Sector Championship, the lights are on. It's Josh Woolley on pole position as the silence breaks and the battle begins. Josh Woolley with a great start, dropping through the order on the route down to Abbey at turn number 1. We go down to turn number 3 at Village. Josh Woolley flies away from the back. It's Shadow in P2, Nate in P3, Larry in P4, side by side with Nate swooping around the outside on the medium. Saintry and slingshots that kicks off slightly ahead of Nate's car, but we've got the left-hander at Brooklyn to navigate. Outside line for Larry, inside line for Nate, and still swooping to the inside line at Luffield is Larry, still going side by side with the Ferrari. Fourth flies through his Larry, he's held it in well, but Shadow's now 1.4 clear. Venkus is right behind, and Charlie Spence is still following within this pack.
Yeah, Nate goes wide as well, and that allows Venkus to take the position from him heading into Maggots and Beckett's. That's what the hard compounded tyres can do to you if they aren't warm up for you. Nate has fallen from P2 down to P5, on the opening first two sectors.
Absolutely, and Josh Woolley, our leader, is on the harder compound side as well. Pressure already from Shadow. Let's see if Larry can try and close in and put some pressure on the Williams and the racing bull car of Josh Woolley, our race leader. But lap 1 of 26, and it's Josh Woolley in P1, it's Shadow in P2, and Larry in P3 as we head on to the second lap of racing. Venkus also flying through on Nate within that lap as well, as Nate is really struggling on this harder compound. Charlie Spence.
Oh,
the track on to number 1, and that is the Red Bull of Vinny Knees going way. Charlie Spence coming back on as Charlie drops down to P9 and letting him back through as well and put himself at the back of the pack. So what can Charlie Spence do from P10? We'll have to wait and see. But further up is Ayajab. Side by side between the player. The McLaren is swooping around the outside. I think we'll keep the position and can do something magical on the exit, which he absolutely. And Isaiah Jarvis still pulling side by side with the McLaren and flies through with the switchback. And it's a fantastic move from the kick and gets up to P7. And now can start chasing Harry Train Nate for the top 5 positions. But Josh Woolley, Shadow, 5 tenths separate them, and Larry another 1.5 seconds back. And closing in slightly on this latest lap, but with Shadow in that DRS, it's led to away from the kick Sauber, as Vinny D's also making a move on Bright accident with Charlie Spence.
Yeah, he might be still putting out quite badly, so I don't know if there's any solution to that, but let's focus back on the racing. The two Ferraris, P5 and P6. Harry Train has been let loose from the DRS train. He's 1.5 behind his teammate there, Nate, and Isaiah Jarvis is struggling as well. Collision between Charlie Spence and the Red Bull early on, as he actually looks to make a move into turn 1. You don't see many there. It's normally into the next braking zone. But yeah, Woolley Blobs and Shadow nicely out into the lead of this race. P1 and P2 with Larry looking to pick up the scraps behind.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a DRS enabled on that latest lap as well. But yeah, Venkus right behind. Larry is in behind. I think Charlie Spence made a move on Brian flies to that inside line and gets passed up to P9 after that lap 1 incident. And let's see if we can chase the following pack. But so far, Shadow right on the rear of Josh Woolley in P1 as we head round Maggots and Beckett and around this 156 miles per hour average speed racetrack. It is fast. And let's see if Shadow can try and make a move on the route down to Stowe Corner. He might be just a bit too far back in that Williams unless he uses a bit of battery. And on the route down Stowe Corner, yes, still just slightly too far back. But there goes Venkus on Larry and takes P3 in the McLaren. And to that inside line, gets through up onto the provisional podium places. But it's only lap 3, still a long way to go. But Venkus gets through.
Yeah, it seems to be a bit better now than what we've changed. But Shadow sets the fastest lap of the race, chasing now behind Woolley in P1. Williams looking to make the move as soon as possible. He's on the mediums compared to Woolley on that, as Woolley gets a decent start compared to Nate, who had a horrendous start on those hard compounded tyres. As I said earlier, qualifying is one thing, but race is another.
Absolutely. There's right in behind, looks better in the first sector, on the mediums, gets through on the inside line at Brooklands, and we have our new race leader. Shadow hits the forefront and the top of the time, and there we go for Shadow. And Luffield flying through on Woodcut, and the Williams out front for the first time in this race. It's lap 4, and those mediums will die out in a few laps. To be honest, he needs to make as much advantage as he possibly can compared to those harder compound tyres on Josh Woolley's car. But Venkus 3 seconds back. There's no real pressure on the front two so far. Larry right in behind on Venkus, but has had a really poor exit on Maggots and Beckett onto the Hanger Straight. As there we go at the front again. There goes Josh Woolley. Flies round the outside with that DRS and gets through at Stowe Corner. So another swap of positions.
There we go. Nate and Larry went side by side through Stowe, and Larry seems to be defending the position, able to go in side by side again into the chicane, and Larry covers that one off very nicely in the Sauber. He must have had a horrible exit out of Maggots and Beckett's. think right catch though.
Yeah, he did. He went way too deep into Beckett's, and that caused his poor exit on the exit of Chapel and onto the main straight down to Stowe, and Nate still putting the pressure on in the Ferrari.
Shadow nearly lost her ears there. Sorry. Huge moment for Shadow.
As drops a few tenths in that first sector as well. Larry really under pressure now from Nate, as Larry does not have that DRS on the route down the Wellington straight down to Brooklands. The Ferrari gets that rearing open, 16 kilometers per hour of extra speed. He dives to the inside line on Larry's car, and bit of contact with the kick salver, but the Ferrari gets through and up into P4. Now, can he chase Venkus down? And Larry demoted down to P5.
Nice one, as Shadow is going to be looking to swap positions again with Wooly Blobs into P1. Into the lead of this race, can Shadow go in the Williams? Venkus 2.7 seconds behind. I think these two up front are just managing to pull away using this DRS that they have available.
Absolutely, Shadow is looking to the inside line and does the late lunge to the inside line on Josh Woolley's car. He's still side by side, but with that racing line, the RB hits the throttle once again, but he's still going, trying to make it side by side as the Williams, but Shadow has to stay behind this time around. But he's still putting the pressure on, a bit of a snap on the exit of Club Corner and down the Hamilton straight. But as we head into Abbey at turn number 1, Josh Woolley still in that race lead.
Yeah, just looking at Larry again as he gets so close, just under 1.5 tenths ahead of Nate. Are we going to see a little lunge from Larry in the Sauber? Not quite. Nate breaks a little bit deeper than Larry, and he goes for it down the inside. A little bit of contact with Nate, and they're going to go side by side onto the straight.
Yes, here we go then, on the route past the Wellington straight. Let's have a look, as Larry has that DRS, and he's going to get through on Nate and keep the position. But here we go, as Larry takes the inside line, and the main race goes a bit too deep though into Luffield, but will press his exit if he gets the power down well enough. But the kick Sauber might just be under a slight bit of pressure as Nate is coming back on the route down to Cobb's Corner. Throw with the inside line, Larry with the outside line, and nearly a Hamilton Verstappen moment there, but Nate catches it on the inside and Larry just swoops around, and no one was backing out there. But that could have been a huge crash if there was a bit more contact there. That could have been Nate out of the race, or at least Larry as well.
Yeah, that was nearly identical to 2021. That was uncanny. As we look back now to the top of the timing sheets, as we see Willie Bob and Shadow still, well, I was going to say extending that gap, but that gap has actually come down by about 4 tenths. Venkus in P3 was 2.7 behind, is now 2.3 behind. Are we going to see a little charge from the McLaren here?
Let's see then, 2.4 is that gap, and let's just keep an eye on that one in the few laps to come. Obviously the mediums will probably die out as well. Shadow is struggling slightly more, it seems, than Venkus, so might have been pushing those tyres a bit too much. But yeah, those mediums will die out around now, as they do die out very quickly, but you've got to elongate this first stint as much as you can. As here we go again with Nate diving round the outside, Larry with that inside line, one on the mediums, one the mediums beginning to die out a little bit more, and Nate with that inside line at Luffield gets back through on the kick Sauber on the exit past Woodcote, and we might have another into Cobb's Corner as Larry looking to the inside line. Nate on the outside.
Oh,
and going for the switchback from Nate in the Ferrari. What a move from the man in the Ferrari. And Nate gets back through on Larry. Huge move. The old up and under at Cobb's Corner. And he stays in P4. But here we go again. Has the DRS. Can he be close enough to try and make a move? Further back, we've got the other kicks of Isaiah Jarvis getting through on Harry Train, but what a move from Nate. He's back up to P4.
That was incredible. That's a clip if I've ever seen one for socials. There's a little bit of a switchback in Cops, won't do a bit around Willie, as a Shadow really struggling to keep that DRS on Woolley up front.
Yeah, absolutely, those mediums really fading away on the Willie. Woolley becomes in favour of the strategy. And yeah, pulling away is at the front two as well on Venkus, who will begin to struggle on the medium compound tyres. But Nate needs to take advantage of those hards as well. and pull away from Larry and stop battling, because it could massively affect the outcome of the race. But Larry in the DRS, we know he's going to get his elbow. The inside line closes up, but just not enough at Brooklands to get a move done. Needs a good exit of Luffield if he wants to pull it side by side once again at Copse Corner. The gap just under 4/10 of a second. If he wants to get past, he's going to need to use a lot of battery unless he saves it for the exit at Chapel, on the exit of Maggots and Beckett. However, he touches a bit of grass on the inside of Copse Corner, and that just slightly affects his exit. But yeah, he's not been great on the exit of Maggots and Beckett, so needs to nail it this time around as we go into Chapel.
Yeah, he needs a nice run out of here to have any chance, and unfortunately, he's not had the best of runs either. He gets the DRS, which is going to help him close up, but you need that momentum coming out of Beckett's and onto the hanger straight to be able to set up your overtaking move.
Charlie Spence going to the inside line at Stoke Corner, and he makes contact with a Ferrari and sends into a half spin at Stoke Corner, and that's Charlie Spence's race going from bad to worse on lap number 9, and on the medium compounder tyres as Harry Train jumps, well, just turns in really, and Charlie Spence, it was a late lunge, so I'm not sure who will be at fault there. A bit more of a racing incident, to be honest. But yeah, Larry's still in that DRS, and he's a lot quicker than Nate in that first sector, it seems, and gets a good exit out of Aintree and gets the DRS wide open, but still 7/10, not close enough to make a move. And Nate, I think, will keep the position for another lap unless Larry can get fantastic exit at Chapel, but it just seems unlikely. As here we go then with Nate and Larry, and in that dirty A, you can see the impact on the exit of Luffield. And yeah, once again, Nate, I think, safe for another lap as everything starts to die down at the end of the first stint as the tyres fade away. All the medium runners and the hards definitely become in favour. And Josh Woolley 2 seconds clear in that race lead.
Yeah, we'll have to look, keep an eye on the gap between Nate and Venkus there. Is at 3.7 currently, and as you say, those hards will be becoming the better tyre over the mediums. So we'll have to see if that gap closes. Larry not quite close enough to make a move. What about Charlie Spence in behind, looking for a move on the Red Bull of Vinny D's, as he's going to go to the outside or the inside. It's going to be the inside. Late move from Vinny D's as he hangs it round the outside to try and keep the move and the position. And Vinny D's, that's a great bit of defensive driving.
Yeah, sticks it there. That was very nicely done from the Red Bull. Still a bit of movement in the braking zone, but yeah, still not complaining with the outside bit of defence. And Charlie Spence is going to have to go again on lap number 10, but Vinny D's in P8, Charlie Spence in P9, and the guys ahead of him both have penalties as well for track limits. But as we head into the braking zone once again, Charlie Spence looming large in the mirrors of that Red Bull as we head down past Aintree and into the Wellington Straight. It's just under 5/10 of a second is that gap. Can Charlie Spence try and find a move down at Brooklands at turn number 6? You have to wait, I'm guessing, on the hanger straight once again, unless he can make a fantastic move at Copse Corner. But on the exit of Luffield and down past Woodcut, has he got a good enough exit to close in? It's definitely closing in quite quickly. Down to Copse Corner. It's a great exit from Charlie Spence, but on the Red Bull, he's going to have to stay behind. Close, but not close enough. And with that dirty air, it's just dragged that Mercedes off the racing line, and the gap extends slightly to 4/10 of a second. But as we head once again through Maggots and Beckett and to Chapel Corner, it's Red Bull versus Mercedes, and the Mercedes is that Jarvis also is making a move on his teammate Larry, but I think he's just kind of let through. Charlie Spence goes to the outside line this time around of the Red Bull of Vinny D's, and on the exit, Charlie Spence looking to make a move to the inside line at the Vale chicane. He dives to the inside line. The Red Bull's hanging it round the outside once again and keeps a position once again. And yet again, Vinny D's with another fantastic defensive move and stays in P8.
Yeah, great bit of defence from the Red Bull. Absolutely loves it, doesn't it? Let's have a look. Larry is in the pit lane as well. The first pit stop we've seen. Let's have a look what he's got onto. Let's have a look at the side. He's got onto the hard, so it'll be hard to the end for Larry now with 15 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely exactly what we expected. And once again, Charlie Spence looking to the inside line of Vinny D's. Vinny D looking to get the better exit down at Luffield, but Charlie Spence might just have this one this time around, as there we go, Vinny, with that bit of dirty air that's extending that gap on the route down to Copse Corner. But Vinny is using that bit of battery as well, try and fight his way back to the inside line. Oh, and that's 2 moves off and on the line, and that definitely affects his line through Copse Corner, and losing a slight bit of time to Charlie Spence as well, and might be a track limits violation. And yeah, losing time through Maggots and Beckett. Let's see if we can try and make a move on the exit, but this time around 7.5, 8 of a second. Charlie Spence is going to keep that position down in P7.
Yep, Shadow is in the pit lane now, and he's going to go onto the hard compound tyres, just like Larry, and he's going to go to the end of the race. Where is he going to come out? Is it going to be behind the Sauber? I believe it is.
Yes, let's see what... Let's see where Shadow comes out as Larry. Let's see where Larry comes out as well, compared to the likes of Harry Train coming into the pit lane. But Shadow, Vinny D's gets through as well, but Shadow coming out the pit lane now and is miles ahead of any threat from behind like Larry. Down in P9, but yeah, Shadow, let's see if he can do this undercut. And let's see what Josh Woolley can do then on the alternate strategy, but it's definitely seen that finishing on the medium tyres might be in favour if done correctly, as the time difference is phenomenal. But those mediums do die out so quick. But when you've got that lower weight of fuel with you at the end and it all burns, and the cars are a lot lighter, they're slightly less harsh on those tyres and more favoured to drive on the mediums in the final stint. So we'll see what it does for Josh Bullitt. But Shadow's got to work his way up and get some good lap times in now to the end and push quite hard on these hards early doors. They're definitely going to make it to the end, but how much can he extract those hards compared to the mediums at the end? Question.
I don't know, it's a very long pit lane as well, and he's 30 seconds behind the leader now, so let's keep an eye on that gap. Vinny D's and Charlie Spence, the only real close battle that we have until we see some more pit stops, as Venkus comes into the pit lane, and so does Vinny D's, who gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's going to really hurt his chances of, what, top 5 maybe today?
Yeah, that's a huge error from Vinny D's, a rookie mistake, feeding into the pit lane, and that will be Vinny D's top 5 position, definitely gone by the end of this race. But Venkus comes out about 2.6 to 3 seconds behind Shadow, so still relatively close, not too bad from Venkus. And after that extra lap, Shadow 2.8 clear and got those tyres up to temperature a little bit earlier. But Vinny D's comes out in P9 as well. Charlie Spence up to 4 and will be elongating this medium stint to try and see what he can do with the overcut. But everything's settling down at the minute as pit strategies become the big question. But Josh Woollett in P1, Nate in P2, Isaiah Jarvis in P3 so far. But still, pit stops got to be had for the top 4.
Yep, it's all going to make sense soon when everyone starts to pit. Everyone's got to be on the correct tyres that they want to finish the race on. Top 4 still left to pit, and Shadow is looking pretty strong for a decent result as Nate comes into the pits, and again, and we see his second driver get a 10-second time penalty. Let's hope that doesn't happen to Woolley as well, who's in the provisional lead of this race. Yet to stop though.
Yeah, I saw him absolutely bomb it into the pit lane, so yeah, I don't know what I expected there. Broke way too late. But yeah, Josh Woolley out front by 16.5 seconds. He could actually end up having a free pit stop if he pushes hard enough. And yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see how far back Shadow is. Yeah. That gap is around 30 seconds, Ben.
Yeah, interesting. Let's have a look. He's got the fastest lap of the race by about a 10th, so Woolley Bob's still decent pace on those hard compound tyres. But yeah, he's gained about 6/10 on Woolley since pitting, I do believe. I think it was 30.7. So Shadow just setting PBs, just matching his PBs at the moment. He's going to need a bit more pace out of those hards, unless he's just bringing them in nice and slowly to have better grip at the end of the race. Yeah,
he has got Venkus by a few seconds on that latest lap, so let's see what he can do. But yeah, a circuit like this, obviously it is a very long pit lane, but obviously you do cut the final 3 corners in the pit lane. It is
You
Josh
don't know where it
Woolley,
is.
and
You don't know where it is. You don't know where the pit lane is. Pit line.
That's going to be a loss of time for Josh Woolley. Just don't have a clue.
About 2 seconds, that. Let's have a look where Shadow comes out, yeah.
Let's have a look then. The gap was about 29.8 seconds on the exit of Maggots and Beckett, but let's see where Shadow comes out as we head round turn number 15 at Stoke Corner and down to the Vale chicane. Pit loss time around 21 seconds because you cut the final 3 corners. That makes up for that long pit lane. Isaiah Jarvis takes the race lead. What a geezer. In the race lead. But Charlie Spence also in the pit lane, but here comes Shadow. And where is Josh Woolley? He's coming out the pit lane now, and yeah, does stay well ahead of Shadow, and he's on the faster tyres now till the end of the race, but still will die out in the final stages of the second stint. So Shadow all about trying to keep any sort of tyre life to the end of the race, but Isaiah Jarvis is the race leader, still yet to pit, and Shadow 3.5 seconds behind.
Yep, absolutely. Isaiah Jarvis going to fall down the order when he does decide to pit. Maybe he's hoping for a safety car. He's going long on those hards, which I respect, but I think it is time soon to go into the pits if he wants any chances and decent points in this race. Charlie Spence is below a second on someone as well as an 8 as well, so we'll land on board with either one of those 2.
Yeah, to be honest, it might be a bad experience for Isaiah Jarvis. Maybe he realises that the mediums out so much in that final stint, so it's probably worth going longer on the hard until they literally drop off the cliff. If he is on the hards anyway, yeah, he's definitely on the hards. So yeah, Isaiah Jarvis, let's see what he can do on that final medium stint. He's going to have fresher tyres than everybody on the grid. But yes, Nate right behind Venkus in P4. Isaiah Jarvis is now in the pit lane, but the Ferrari looking to the outside line and cannot make a move on Venkus in P4. And Charlie Spence right behind Vinny D's also going to be way too far back to make a move as Isaiah Jarvis in the pit lane. That means Josh Woolley hits the forefront once again, and Shadow back up as well. Let's see where Isaiah Jarvis comes out.
Yep, let's have a look. Nate sets the fastest lap of the race as he navigates now through. Oh, here we go. Bit of action here between Venkus and Nate on those fresher mediums. Nate dives down the inside and makes the move stick. Venkus looking for a little switchback, Mr. Wagner. This is spicy.
Absolutely, here we go with Venkus as he makes that switchback stick on the exit of Aintree, and it's going side by side once again. The Ferrari diving to that inside line and gets the move done on the medium compounder tyres. Nate's back in P3, has that 10-second time penalty. That might just cost him of that podium position, and it's all up for grabs now though. But Venkus demoted to P4, and what a switchback it was. But Nate flies back through down at Brooklands, and another switchback for the Ferrari. And this time around, it was on him, but he gets back a move at Brooklands anyway. Isaiah Jarvis is down in P6 on the fresher tyres to Larry though, so he should be able to make inroads on his teammate in the Kick Sauber. So let's see what Isaiah Jarvis can do for the final 10 laps. But Venkus in that DRS, can he try and make a move? He's just slightly too far behind. Also, Charlie Spence is very close to Magnussen Beckett, so let's keep an eye on him as Josh Woolley sets the fastest lap of the race and gains so much time on Shadow. 7 seconds is that gap. I think he'll be fine when it comes to the end of the race. But here we go with Charlie Spence once again to the inside line. He goes down as Stoney's a lot further ahead than the Red Bull this time around, to not let Vinny D hang around that outside. Can he dive to the inside line? He is this time around. There goes Vinny D between himself and Charlie Spence, but I don't think there's any damage there on the front wing of Charlie Spence. I think he's just all right. And then Vinny D's gets back in P8 with that late lunge down at the Vale chicane.
Absolutely. The plan, I was going to say, for Venkus was to just try his best to stay in that DRS of Nate and make sure that he can't pull out those 10 seconds that he's got in penalties, but he's lost DRS. And at this rate, is he going to lose over that 10-second margin? We'll have to wait and see. I think it should be okay just, but it's already up to 2 seconds, that gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what he can do in this next stage to push away from Venkus. But so far, Isaiah Jarvis is actually still in that 10 seconds as well. I'm pretty sure to Nate. He's just over. So he's about 11 seconds over. He's about 1 second over is Isaiah Jarvis. So yeah, let's see what pace Isaiah Jarvis has, because you never know, it could actually still be in contention for a podium. It's just all about now getting past Larry and Venkus. But yeah, could still try and fight within that 10 seconds of Nate. And you never know what Isaiah Jarvis can do on this next stint. But he is gaining quite a lot to Venkus and Larry as well. I'm not really losing any to Nate in P3, so it's going to be interesting as well to see what happens to them, as Charlie Spence is making a move again on Vinny D's, exact same move. He sweeps around the outside at Stowe corner, but this time around his lesson going to defend to the inside. I don't think it matters anyways. Vinny D's goes very deep at Stowe corner and goes way off the track, so I think Charlie Spence got it this time around.
Yep, nice one from Charlie Spence. 13 second penalties from Vinny D's. All he needs to do is just stay within the region to solidify that P8. But Nate is catching on Shadow here at the front. Obviously, he's got that 10-second time penalty, so he's not really going to get that position come the end of the race. But he's going to get it on merit. He's going to get it on track here, maybe. Depends how these mediums die out towards the end of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. They do die out so quick. After lap 5, it starts to degrade and it just goes a bit downhill for the medium compound tyres. But yeah, Josh Woolley making his advantage stick early doors in the gap up to 8 seconds. So no matter what happens at the end of the stint, he can coast his way to the finish line and got that gap. And that extra lifeline come the end of the race of that huge gap he has to Shadow and Nate as well. But still, 8 laps to go. Josh Woolley led pretty much every single one. Had a bit of an interference with Shadow, and also Isaiah Jarvis got one under his belt as well. Good to see in Estadal lad. But yeah, Josh Woolley has been very dominant here at Silverstone, and still not many laps to go, but still Josh Woolley looking like he's definitely going to take this one away here at round 1 for the Purple Sector Championship. And prizes up for grabs as well. But Josh Woolley P1, Shadow in P2, Nate in P3, and it's anybody's game for that final podium place, really.
Yep, Nate is looking pretty strong, but again, that 10-second time penalty is really hampering, or will hamper, his final position. Charlie Spence and Vinny D's the only close battle really got out on track. Nate is gaining though on Shadow. Maybe we might see an incident just to spice things up, who knows. But yeah, let's ride the ball with Woolley just for a little bit as we watch his excellence as he navigates now Maggots and Beckett's the McLaren of Brewery, nicely getting out of the way there as he gets past the Brewery flag cars. But yeah, 9.2 seconds, and we're going to see a win over 10 seconds from P2 in the first round of Savannah. It's been very exciting and a dominant drive from Woolley.
Absolutely, I think it all depends on. I mean, either way, Nate's got a large penalty anyway, so yeah, I think Josh Woolley will be definitely over 10 seconds. But now it just matters how much he can extra gain with Shadow losing so much time on the front man, Josh Woolley, and so much time on Nate, who's climbed the way through his order now and pushing on to try and make up any sort of ground he possibly has in that Ferrari.
In the DRS.
And is in that DRS, yeah, just climbing under, and we'll have the DRS for the Wellington Straight, so this is the lap, and we'll definitely have a look for Nate. 18.08 on the exit of the loop. He's got that extra bit of traction around Aintree on these tyres, but still 6 laps to go. How long can he hang on to these mediums? Keep them way better than those hards. Let's have a look around Luffield we go, and Ferrari versus Williams. And this time around, it looks to be the Ferrari who comes out on top, but the Williams can definitely still take P2 with the penalties included. 6 laps to go as Nate heads down to Copse Corner. The gap still just fluctuating about 5/10 of a second, but the extra grip through Copse Corner gains him that extra few tenths as well. But as we head to Maggots and Beckett's on the exit of Chapel Corner, is going to be so close, going to be nearly touching the rear of that Williams. He's going to get the DRS wide open on Shadow on the route down to Stowe at turn number 15. Here we go, for Nate. He's climbed loads, plenty of time and plenty of ground around 6 kilometre circuit. He gets through, and Nate up to P2, but has that 10-second time penalty, but so quick so far. And it's going to be a long stint to the end for those mediums on the... We're going to hang in there and try and pull away from at least Venkus to try and take P3 in this one. Definitely deserves it, but that mistake, what I'm getting, that spin in the pit lane, could have just cost him any shot he had of taking P2 today.
Absolutely. Shadow is just going to try and stick in that DRS like I thought Venkus would have done with Nate, but unfortunately those new mediums just allowed Nate to pull away nice and easily. But yeah, Shadow, all he's got to do is stay within 10 seconds of Nate and he will get that P2 position at the end of the race. Got around 5 laps to go and it's been a thriller. Do you know what? There's been some great racing. And do you know where you want to go if you want to see some more great racing, Alex?
Actually, that's it too. Just started, hasn't it? Just started tonight, actually. Just started.
If you fancy a bit of good racing as well as this, after this stream you can head to FZR Racing on Twitch, and we will be streaming Tier 2 live for our new commentary partnership. As Nate gets past some back markers there, I think that's Bree again, and Shadow navigates past it as well. But yeah, Tier 2 is on after this. Partnered with Grid Finder is FZR, and FZR bringing the commentary here today. So if you enjoy us, why not have a bit more? But if you don't enjoy us, then I don't blame you, to be honest.
Nah, you can't. We are the Yorkshire Crofty and Martin Brundle, and
yes,
that is us. That is us wrapped up. But no, it's been a nice little chill opener, I'd say, here for the Purple Sector Championship. Josh Woolley has asserted some dominance today and looking to take a full price buzz. What's happening with Harry Train and Charlie Spence? He's looking wrong.
What a move.
That's a great move on Charlie Spence. So in contact though with Harry Train. And I tell you what, that was a northern service to the barriers on the Hamilton straight, but just keeps it out of the wall. And Harry Train there. That could have been a huge incident, but keeps it between the road there. Keeps it on the road. Oh God, I don't know what I'm saying. Isaiah Jarvis gets from Larry though. But Ben, did you get my reference there? Because I thought that was brilliant, actually.
I wasn't listening. What do you say?
What do you mean? I said it's the northern service to the
Sheffield.
To the no, not the Sheffield, to the barriers.
Please mind the gap.
Northern service to the barriers for Harry Train, but no, keeps it out of the wall.
Oh, Harry Train. I see why now.
Yeah, he's got in there. Yeah, good on it.
Yeah. Only novice, I don't understand that one.
Yeah, this is the L&ER service for the barriers for you southerners. Anyway, I feel like we're doing Le Mans commentary of this, honestly. Best thing you can have instead of cake.
What is this? 2 o'clock in the morning.
No,
it's not that.
There's Shadow. He's still right behind Nate. Nate is dropping off a cliff, folks, on the medium compound tyres, so I'm just laughing. But Isaiah Jarvis has made his way past Larry, and is now starting to drop off. The mediums, like I said, like predicted, are now definitely dropping off. But Josh Woolley is going to win this race by over 10 seconds, folks, and it's going to be quite a substantial margin. It might be maybe over 15 by the end of this race. He's got 3 laps to gain as much as he possibly can. But anyway, Josh Woolley, dominant drive for himself. Larry right on the rear of Isaiah to beginning to struggle a little bit more on the medium compound then.
Yep, absolutely. And 2 teammates might be coming together. They wanted to drive in the same team, so I think Charlie sorted them out live. Definitely getting a warning there. But yeah, let's have a look how this race pans out. Lap 23 out of 26, and Williams is over 10 seconds in the lead, so he's got it clear. But yeah, the fight for P2 is well and truly on for Shadow, but I think he's also got that on there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. He's chilling there now and he's on the favoured tyre really. He's rather on the hards and the mediums when it gets to the latter stages. But yeah, chilling around that 1.2 mark. No real reason to push, as Josh Woolley is way too far away. And Nate, yeah, still at 10 second time penalty, so Shadow can easily take this P2. And thank you all for watching the chat as well. Appreciate you all coming along for this first event. Larry. So that will surely take that P5 position. Lovely stuff. But Larry, yeah, still got 13 seconds to Charlie Spence. So yeah, the Kicks Albert team are going to be doing drastically bad with that 3 second time penalty. But yeah, thank you all for watching this first edition of the Purple Sector Championship. This is just the beginning. And like I said earlier, if you want to sign up, head to the Grid Finder website. and head to, it should be banned everywhere, the Purple Sector Championship, because we want to get people in there. But have a look at the communities tab as well, and it'll probably be on there as well. But yeah, should be. As soon as you enter the Grid Finder website, it will be there waiting for you. And make sure to sign up as Larry is making a move on his teammate Isaiah Jarvis on the harder compound tire to medium side side out. But here comes Isaiah, is trying to get the better traction down, but yeah, just struggled with a bit of understeer in the end. And yeah, comes right behind his teammate. And we're going side by side to Cox, so both the teammates going to kick Sauber into the wall, but no, going way too deep with Isaiah Jarvis. And Larry is going to be a bit more comfortable in P5, but Isaiah Jarvis is going to be more comfortable taking it away from him with that 3-second side penalty, please.
Yep, and I've just checked yesterday, I'll show him that looks very, very good, so I'm very happy with the commentators we've got so far. But on to now what is going to be the penultimate lap. Woolly Bob, you can see him on the track map, is so far in the lead from Nate. So yeah, lap 25 out of 26, and Woolly Bob, it's been absolutely dominant, 12.7 seconds, and it's going to be even more. It's going to be about 15 seconds, because you've got to take into account Nate's 10-second time penalty, and then the time that Shadow is behind Nate. So yeah, about 15 seconds in the lead. Woolly Blobs, it's been brilliant.
It absolutely has. Lap 25 of 26, and it has been an absolutely fantastic drive from that man out front. And Josh Woolley will take the full points, and we'll be happy. Oh, here we go with Larry and his. It's getting feisty now between the pair, and I tell you what, the double mates, because it's getting way feisty. Isaiah Jarvis getting back through at Wuffield, and wow, this is getting a bit tasty with how these two are driving as we go down to Cop's corner. Looking to the inside line is Larry in contact with a teammate Isaiah Jarvis, but it's very, very close between the pair, and at the moment it could be anybody. Oh, it's just too close, lads. Too close. Yeah, it must be horrendous. But so far, Isaiah Jarvis ahead of Larry, but Larry going to on the route down to Stowe corner and grabs that inside line on his teammate and gets back through on Isaiah Jarvis up to P5. But Isaiah Jarvis is going to look to the inside line. He's going to pull back behind. But it's the final 3.66 mile tour from that man out front, Mr. Woolley himself. It's been an absolutely fantastic drive, and it's going to be fantastic to see him cross the line and take that 4 points like deserved. Shadow is making a move on Nate as well, gets back up to P2. It just shows how quick those mediums fade away in the latter stages, and Shadow securing that P2, and we'll grab it out on track as well. It always feels like a little bit nicer to get out on track instead of penalties. Isaiah Jarvis right in the rear of his teammate, as here we go. And Isaiah Jarvis gets back through on Larry. And fantastic fight between the pair, to be honest. I'm surprised they haven't made contact, because they're both, by my AWS, Alex's Wicked System calculations, they should both be in the wall by now, by how close they're racing. But at the moment, Isaiah Jarvis pulls ahead and about 6 times clear. So I think he might just keep this one. But here we go with Josh Woolley then, as he heads into the Vale Chicane for the first time here for the Purple Sector Championship. We've got the first. And here in round one, here at Silverstone, the home of Formula One, it's Josh Woolley who takes the win here in the Purple Sector Championship. And what a dominant display from the V-Carb. In behind, it's going to be Shadow who comes across the line very comfortably in P2 in the end, with Nate's 10-second time penalty. Venkus is going to come across the line and take P3 and the final spot on the podium, and Nate drops down to P4. We've got both the kick Selbers still fighting heavily, but it's Isaiah Jarvis who takes P5 and Larry in P6. Charlie Spence is coming around the final few corners. It's been quite a miserable race for the Mercedes and the community admin, but here we go. Across the line, he comes home in P7. Going to be a Harry Train in P8. Finny D's in the pit lane just for a little laugh, and comes across the line in P9.
Yep, good race to start us off. We saw some fantastic battles out there on track. There was a couple of dodgy moments between a couple of the drivers, but that is what experience will teach them. And yeah, it's a great way to start the Purple Sector Championship. Yeah, so yeah, thank you everyone for joining. A reminder, if you do want to join the Purple Sector Championship, you can do so on Grid Finder. You can sign up on Grid Finder, and if you just type gridfinder.com into your browser and then type in the Purple Sector Championship in the search bar, you'll be able to fill out the application form. So yeah, massive thank you to Grid Finder for allowing us to stream this great event. And yeah, I think it's over and out from us in the FCDR commentary team.
Absolutely. And next week, we'll run through the calendar as well. If I can find it. Let's have a look. Let me have a look on the Grid Finder website at the next event, which will be on there as well as we go into details. As next week we have Bahrain. That's a fantastic circuit for racing and commentating, and I'm excited for that one. Then we have Kota, then Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, then the Belgian Grand Prix, then Austria, Abu Dhabi, then to finalise it all, who will be champion of the first season of the Purple Sector Championship, we go to Interlagos, one of the most iconic ones out there, the end of the season then. But yes, that is us today, rounding out the Purple Sector Championship round 1. It's Josh Woolley who takes that race win. Ben, what's your final words?
Well, again, I just want to say thank you. And of course, if you'd like to find races today on F125, just like this one, head over to Grid Finder. They've just added F125 for the new game, but there's also so many more games on there. Manage your championships and have a good time. A good racing experience with others on Grid Finder. So thank you very much. And it is over and out from the FCDR commentary team for round 1. We'll see you in round 2.
Bye-bye.